Hello.
Hi, Mr. Brandt.
Hi, how y'all doing?
Y'all, I think it's just me and Mrs. Lindbergh so far. It's just the two of us. We're the entire MSA club right now.
I could see there's a few more.
They're very quiet.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Melanie. Thanks for the cybersecurity email. Very interesting.
I don't know. I might have been muted. You're welcome. I'll keep sending you stuff too.
Yeah, I've had trouble the last 2 days with my Zoom. One, my headphones wouldn't work. Two, I couldn't get it to do breakout rooms. And then I couldn't get my camera to work, and it said my camera was being used by another app. So I went on and looked, and I couldn't find any other apps. I looked at the processes and the task manager, and then it said I might have a worm. I'm like, oh, that's bad.
Oh.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Everyone. I can't see anybody's pictures, but I'm really not used to doing Zoom on a phone. Is that just how it is?
Yeah.
If you swipe right,
Yeah, you can see it.
if you swipe right, it'll give you gallery view.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so just a few of us here so far, right?
Yeah, I just see 14 on so far.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Lindbergh and Mr. Brandt and the rest of the team, did you guys get my email that I'm trying to watch kids volleyball game?
Yes.
So I did the agenda, and then after I give my piece about what I heard of the governing board meeting, which of course is still going on, Kristen's going to kind of take over for me and go through the rest of the agenda.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm in Queen Creek, so I had to have Kenan down here at 3 because I'm not having her ride the bus. So I've just been like hanging out in Queen Creek, getting stuff done, listening to the governing board meeting.
Exciting times.
Yeah.
My husband's at the
Definitely.
game and he's texting me. He's like, wait, I don't understand where you are. And I'm like, I'm at a pizza place listening to a governing board meeting. So, yeah. Let me just ask real quick on the technology, because I heard, Susan, you were talking about you having problems. Are anybody's kids having problems? Like today, Kenan could not connect. It just kept her Chromebook wouldn't connect, and then she can't get on using any kind of other computer because she was on Microsoft Teams, I think, and she was only able to use the SUSD licensed device to get on Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, there was a massive outage today for all internet on CenturyLink. Massive.
Okay.
It's still going on as far as I know, but almost all of Scottsdale was out.
Okay. So yeah, she was really stressed about that, about being marked absent and all that. And, I said, well, email your teacher from your phone and just let him know you're trying to get on and you're not able to. So.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 6 o'clock exactly, or 6:02, or what time?
Yep. We've got about 17 people on, Ashley.
Okay.
Hey, Ashley, while we're at it, can we ask the others, since we have to approve the minutes, do we want to maybe recommend people like checking the minutes if they didn't get to read them on Facebook, or do you want to post them? What do you think would be easier?
Don't we put the minutes on Facebook afterward?
Yeah, so I'm cool if everyone got a chance to look them over, just to approve them.
Yeah, I think generally we just need to have I should know this, but what is the exact rule? We just have to, nobody opposes the minutes and then we're good to go?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I move to approve the minutes from the September meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
So I did them, I figured I would.
All in favor say aye.
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 All right.
All opposed, say nay. Did I do that right?
Yep, that works. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And just, again, it's hard for me on the phone to see everybody at once, but I'm not sure if we have our whole board here. I can see Miss Lindberg. Thank you for joining us. And is Mr. Brandt here?
I'm there.
Great. And Mr. Miller's here. And then our parent booster board, we have Shonda,
Yep.
who's our secretary, and Kristen, who's our vice president. And Melanie, are you here?
Yes.
Mhm.
Great. Hi, Mel. Melanie's our events coordinator. And Katie Foster, are you here?
I don't see Katie
Okay,
right
so
now.
Katie's our treasurer. She's not here quite yet. Lisa Erickson, are you here?
I am here.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
We've been texting all afternoon. And I feel like I'm missing someone.
I don't think you are. You're good.
Okay. So first I'm just going to go ahead and give the update from the part of the governing board meeting that I was able to hear, which was about an hour. They started off with some good news that Pueblo just got recognized as an A+ school, which is really awesome because that's one of our feeder schools.
That's awesome.
So great for Pueblo. And then they honored some different students for projects and things that they've done. And then of course there was the update on the Return to Learn plan. They are, if people want to tune in later, going to be giving or going to be taking parent feedback and comments, which I believe is the first governing board meeting. I think they mentioned this is the first one that they've done that so far since this COVID situation that we're in. But they are doing that later in the agenda, I'm sure, because they wanted to get through, the things that they had on their list first. So, but they did have Dr. Menzel speak, and he sent out a very comprehensive letter yesterday about the state of the schools in the district. If maybe, I'm hopefully everybody got it, but maybe Shanda, if you want to put a link on the Facebook page, that would be really great, to the letter. And he just kind of reiterated, some of the things that he had put in the letter, and then he added some additional information. So the additional information that he added with respect to COVID cases is that we have 18 cases and in the district, and that basically the process, and apparently, it sounds like his presentation was driven by questions and concerns, so I think a lot of people were questioning the process. So what exactly happens when someone gets identified? So there are, on the website, if you go to the SUST website and you look at, I think it's COVID updates, it'll break it down. There's several pages of exactly what they do. But this is the information that he wanted to share tonight at the governing board meeting. And I know that we had the athletic trainer share the same information with the sports teams yesterday. So there have been 18 confirmed cases in SUSD. Parents have reported more, but the way that it goes is once there's a report like, oh, my child tested positive for COVID, it needs to go through the Maricopa County Department of Health to make sure that it was a legitimate positive test before they send out a letter to everybody that needs to quarantine. Now, naturally, they do tell that child or that family, do not send your student to school anymore. They need to quarantine and stay home. But before they turn, everything upside down by shutting down classes and quarantining families and all those kinds of things, they wait for a positive test from Maricopa County. It sounds like maybe last week, that was a longer time period than they would have liked between the initial report of a possible positive case and the confirmation.
Uh-oh. Hello? Froze.
People have had to quarantine because they've been sitting next to someone in the classroom. But all of the positive cases that have been linked from a school perspective have been through athletics. Now, in addition, there have been a number of positive cases that have been from social activities that kids are doing outside of school. So in Dr. Menzel's letter, and again tonight, he emphasized and reiterated the need and the desire for families to make sure their kids are following the same protocols that we're really trying to do in school, because we're being fairly effective so far in school. He said the kids are doing a great job wearing their masks. Spread has not happened yet in school besides athletics, but the partying and things that are going on outside of school and the people getting together and things have definitely contributed to some of the need to quarantine and some of the positive cases. It's unbelievable that he would have to reiterate this numerous times, but he said, please do not come to school if you're sick. If there's any question whatsoever, if you're overtired, if you have a cough, anything, if you are sick, stay home from school. Right now, Maricopa County, according to the data that SUSD is looking at, is at a 5% positivity rate, but it's increasing. So we just need to do our best to, keep our masks on, socially distance, have our students be responsible, not just in school, but also outside of school. There is a project that's been going on so far since August at Cheyenne, where they have had cameras in all of the classrooms, and they have not done any asynchronous learning at all. They've only done synchronous learning with cameras in all the teachers' classrooms. The district, so far, it's gone very, very well. The district is using that as kind of a model looking forward. I don't know how much this pertains to high school, but looking forward to second semester is trying to find a way to use this program because it's been so successful at Cheyenne with the cameras in the classrooms and not doing the, all the asynchronous learning that we were doing when school started. They have never done that. They started right away with the cameras. Let's see. Oh, so enrollment is down in our district on average of about 3.5%. They went through the different high schools with their feeders. I forget what that's called. I want to call it the trifecta, but the feeder schools that go into each high school, the complexes. And like Hohokam is down 18%. Chaparral is down 4%. Saguaro is up. We are the only, it's unfortunate that all these others are down, but I just want to say that says something special about Saguaro. I mean, I don't think there was another complex that was down less than 2%. Everybody was 3%, 4%, 5%, and we're up by, at least a handful of kids, if not more. So I think that says a lot about us and our programs and our teachers. So I just wanted to point that out. And I think that is all that I heard pretty much about the back to school. And then they started talking about bond initiatives. And again, I think we're going to get back to I know, I'm sorry, there was one more thing. In the conversation about kids having to go to quarantine because of an outbreak at their school, their initial plan was to have kids go to EDL and go to classes in the afternoon. Then there was I perceived it as maybe some pushback from parents that, they had chosen EDL because of the very small class sizes. And if all of a sudden their kid is in EDL with a smaller class size, 2 or 3 students for a shorter time, they're getting very concentrated instruction. Whereas if all of a sudden a class has to quarantine and then you have this giant class of EDL kids, so they're looking at how to accommodate that with the cameras that I talked about at Cheyenne and make sure that those kids, if they do end up with a huge class of students that is having to go all online, how to not have it just be that smaller portion of time in the afternoon, if that makes sense. And let's see, we adopted the last minutes. That was the update on the governing board. And then Chris and Susan, or Ray, I just wanted to see if you guys could give kind of a little update on how things are looking at school on campus, since some of us haven't even had our students there. So how's that going on campus?
I think probably Ray, you see more students than we do.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's going well for me. I have about 25 students per class in person. It's going well. The afternoons are difficult just because the kids are not engaged. So I do find the afternoon EDL to be super difficult to engage the students. I'm personally just recording one of the morning session and then having them watch it in the afternoon. But the students, the morale on campus is really good. The students seem happy to be there, and I haven't had any problems with students following the rules and guidelines that we have set for. So it's been good.
Yeah, that's good news. That's certainly, what I've heard from a district perspective, even with the real young kids. I mean, they're doing a very good job knowing they need to keep their masks on and knowing they need to follow the rules. So that's good to hear. How many kids do you have in EDL in the afternoon?
So my classes are all like 35 and about 25 in person, and then average of 10 in the afternoon.
Okay.
The smallest is 6 and the large 12. So.
Good. I know a lot of the kids are glad to be back, so I'm happy to hear that the morale is good and people are following the rules. Okay, and then the next thing I had on the agenda is upcoming events. Now, at the end of the agenda, I have questions and answers, and people may have, or will probably have, questions about the back to school plan or how that's going. They may have those questions. Lisa's also going to share some information after we go over the upcoming events and a few other things about how we can support the teachers, because it's not easy for them, as Ray just said, as Mr. Miller just said, to be teaching all morning and then having another group of students that they're trying to work with in the afternoon, and then many teachers are trying to run clubs in addition. So that is a real challenge. So we've been brainstorming how we can help the teachers by supporting them in whatever way that we can, and we're looking for parent feedback as well if you guys have any ideas. So Lisa will get to that toward the end of the meeting here, but the next thing I have on the agenda here is upcoming events, and we have a number with the online field trip and the meeting tomorrow night and Sisters in STEM. So do you guys want to go ahead and kick off that list?
I don't have the agenda in front of me. What's
Okay,
next?
so the next one was, I think, the Sonia Kovalevsky math event.
Oh, Ray's doing that.
Yeah, so I sent out a blast, but kids could sign up for it individually, but then Mr. Miller was trying to get a group of kids together, so I'll let him talk about that.
So hard to get unmuted. Last time I checked, I only had one student so far, but I was trying to get a group together that would agree to do that field trip as a group in either the library or whatever room we had. So I'll send out another message. It's just a math field trip, and they provide some activities, and it would go until noon. So the big thing is students would be missing their classes, and they'd have to figure out how to make that up. But that one's coming up.
Is that a particular class or age group that you're looking for to go?
Any students. It's math oriented. It used to be geared toward girls, but this year they're opening it to all students. So I think the speakers are all women in mathematics, but it's still open to everybody.
on here.
Okay, other things happening are, we do have the cyber cis. I think Lisa was going to talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, so I won't say much about that, but we do have the Cyber Patriots competition, which is the cybersecurity competition through the Air Force in Northrop Grumman. And the kids have been practicing, and I have to say, Jake Weiss has been doing a fabulous job. He spends a lot of time preparing lessons and watching videos, etc. And we just were verified. Now we're waiting on approval for our teams. We thought initially, you know, in the summer after doing the camp, we might have one team. Well, we now have 4 teams. So it's a little bit bigger than and so we'll have 4 teams, and the competition starts in November. So we're just doing practice rounds right now. We were just approved for a tax credit account, so we can start doing some fundraising for that. Although I think we're going to have 2 girls teams, which will be free. They waived the fees for girls, trying to get more girls into coding and cybersecurity, etc. So that's looking good.
Shall I go ahead and talk about the cyber cis and so on quickly? We've had a lot of great success with all of the cyber teams. Susan's right that what's going on with Cyber Patriots is wonderful for everybody. I'd say we're having just as much success and momentum with the other clubs as well. Different, of course, because they aim at different things. The Cyber Cis work is going fantastically. We now have 2 different curriculums for that program. And for any who might not know this is our own students developing curriculum to help younger children to stay safe on the internet and on social media. We've developed now a program for 2nd to 3rd graders and a new one for, say, 5th to 7th graders. We had deployed the 3rd grade program out to Kiva at the end of last school year, and we now have begun the process of deploying the 3rd grade curriculum and the new 5th and 6th grade curriculum over at Navajo. I cannot begin to tell you how wonderful it is and amazing it is to see the kind of material that our kids are putting together and the way they then present it to these young people. It's remarkable. The teachers love what we're doing. As soon as they see our kids out there teaching with their kids and interfacing, they adore it. They ask for more. We have to be careful not to over deploy ourselves and ask for too much time for our kids. So thus far we've been approaching individual schools, but I think once we get this new set of the Cyber Cis club members fully trained up on how to teach, we'll start working to deploy this at several schools at a time. We also are looking to potentially deploy this out in Boston. We have a group in Boston, a elementary school group that might well be interested in having our kids teach out there. We also have had an ongoing interest for a long time with a group out in Oakland, California. So if we logistically can make those things happen, we will have reached coast to coast on that program, which is quite an amazing thing considering it all just started a few months ago and all driven by our kids. The Bookworm team, the one developing the Jada Saves the Day book, continues to come up with amazing ideas. That group is so creative in the different things they want to accomplish. So we have, I'd say, 5 to 10 different ideas of things we can do in that group. And it's a matter of making sure that we focus on one or the other of the activities and get each of them completed in sequence rather than trying to approach everything at once. And in that group, we are working the book. We are in the midst of finishing the illustrations. My next step with that group will be to do a read to me type of program, ideally with some kindergarten groups. And I think that's going to be wonderful. 2 of our students in the Bookworm Club have also developed a 5th grade class for cyberbullying in particular. So that will be additive to what the Cyber Sys team already does. And those students will be helping to teach that class. The two in particular have been Zoe, I'm bad with last names, but one of our students, Zoe and Arohi, have been developing the program for that. And they just jumped right in. They've spent the last week putting that together with a lot of enthusiasm. It's really nicely done. We have started launching a piece of the CyberGen program. Melanie can speak, and Melanie and Ashley can speak to that if they'd like to. We've had, I think, 2 meetings now on that. One sort of a leadership launch of what would happen with that, leadership and mentor launch, to talk about what that would look like. Storming on how to start getting that program engaged. We'll call a full club team meeting fairly soon here in the next week or two to actually start launching that program as well. As I think, Susan, did you want to talk about the Sisters in STEM, or do you want me to bring that up? What's better? That we should mention to people.
Yeah, that's next on the agenda. That'd be perfect.
Go ahead.
Okay, all right, good.
You're very passionate.
Well, yeah, we all are. I just talk a lot, so I'll try and talk fast. But the Sisters in STEM, as everybody probably knows, I think here, Sisters in STEM has been our sort of formative initiative in the STEM field that started 2.5 years ago with 3 of the students in our robotics community, in the FRC community, that really wanted to see young girls have the opportunity to get exposure to the STEM fields. That program has launched at a minimum 12 that I can think of, 12 separate initiatives, 12 separate spin-offs in activities in the school, more than $25,000 worth of donations, more than that, at least $25,000 worth of donations ultimately across the board that come and get used in all of these programs we're talking about, all the cyber programs and the MSA programs. A lot of visibility in media and so on for this, and a lot of enthusiasm for us, for the MSA. Matter of fact, a number of the families that are here with us are here because of some of the things that have happened in Sisters in STEM. We will be running Sisters in STEM, the event itself, again this year. It won't be live. It will be a remote program. We've already met with the team that's going to be sort of the foundation for that program this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's also going to be a lot of work. There will be a tremendous opportunity for any of your students to get involved in volunteering for that program. I highly, highly recommend that anyone who can get involved in that, because it will be unlike anything that your kids have ever done before. And the chances for them to get new experiences, new skill sets, new visibility to our community will be very high. I would say within probably a week to 2 weeks at most, we'll be putting a letter out to everybody, to all of you, and to the other groups in the school, inviting students to join and participate as volunteers. Many different levels of volunteering available, anything from helping out and developing different experiments that we'll do online, to being tech support, to being speakers. And we'll also be looking, as a matter of fact, for some adult speakers in the STEM field to participate. So at any rate, keep your eyes out for that. Again, highly encourage your kids to participate. It was launched through robotics, but it crosses over into all of the MSA. And as well, the general population, anybody who'd like to volunteer is welcome to do so, and there'll certainly be a place for them.
Okay, and your target date on that is January 8th, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Chris. I always forget to mention that. Yes, right at the moment, we're looking at January 8th. I don't see anything in the way of that. So unless you hear back fairly soon, that should be a pretty well pegged date for it. It'll be in the evening. Still a little open on whether we were going to start around 5 or 6. Kind of depends on what people want to do for what we think families will want to do for dinner before we actually start the program. So.
Great, thanks, Lisa. That's awesome. I think there's just a couple other upcoming events that Chris, you were going to mention, and then you can kind of segue into the Innovation Center updated, because that's next on the agenda, if you don't mind.
Okay, so in terms of robotics,
Yeah, robotics and new family. You got it.
right. And so one of the events the kids are planning is to support the FLL, which is going to be all virtual this year. So also we've heard the FRC is going to be all virtual this year. The only one that looks like they'll have any type of students going someplace and doing something is the DRC, which is the small robot. And they're still working on that, but they're talking about bringing in one school at a time and just a couple kids from that school to run their robots. And so anyway, the kids want to do the FLL virtual tournament that they always do through over at Mojave on right now. The latest date is the February 20th is what they're looking at to get approved with the FLL people. They were looking at February 13th, but then they realized that was President's Day weekend and they didn't want, just in case they lose people because of that. So that's the date, February 20th. We're moving forward with the Innovation Center. I did the punch with Dennis yesterday, and the superintendent and everyone came in, all the engineers, and we went through it with a fine-tooth comb and put little blue tape all over everything. And most of it is just painting issues, and a few places the walls got bumped. But they should be done with 99% of it by Friday. And so Monday we should really be looking at the district has to come in and do some stuff first. They've got to put in the air compressor, which they've ordered. They've got to hang the TV screens, and they offered to, there was a little money left in the budget. So we didn't have any casing in the print lab. So they're gonna put a little casing in the print lab. And they're buying the FRC floor, the carpet, so that the carpet that's there will not get ruined by the robots. There's gonna be carpet on top of the carpet. And they also are buying the furniture for the classroom because they want to have all new stuff. So we're buying some furniture out of the grant, but not much. They're buying almost all of the furniture. We're buying a lot of things. She's showing you. Lindbergh has a picture of the room now. She's showing you the picture she took. It's amazing. I took the first two kids in today. Natalie and Ben came by and I said, do you want to go see it? So I took them in there, and believe it or not, I could tell they were smiling so big, even though they had masks on. You could tell from up here that they were just ecstatic. It's going to be amazing. And so on Thursday, we should be moving our trailer in there into the side yard, which is just an amazing place. I had no idea it was going to be as cool as it is. So it's very exciting. We're very excited.
Those are awesome pictures. Thank you for sharing those too while you're talking. It was good to see all those pictures. Mr. Brandt, do you want to just update the families here on this call on the new family info session for tomorrow, just in case they know someone that might be interested and they can just tap on their shoulders?
Yes. At 7 o'clock, and there's a Zoom link on the Peachtree, and it's also on our Math and Science Academy website. And by the way, I'm trying to do a transfer over right now from all of the Google site, which some of our parents have a hard time using the Google stuff, to the district's Blackboard, which seems to work better as a site. And so that's one of the things I'm working on now is, so I just today put a new calendar on the district page instead of having the Google Calendar. I'm going to run them both at the same time, and someone told me that I can link the two, and so I'm going to probably run both pages for a while, but eventually we'll go to where if you click on Saguaro site and you click on the MSA, all our information is there, including our calendar. Before, you know, we had Google sites, just like we have Google Classrooms and everything else, but for some reason, it seems to block people. So we're working on that. And we're also working on, I started working on, our main thing is over the next 2 years, we're going to try to get STEM certification, become a STEM certified school. And so I've been working on that a lot too. So in terms of what's going on with us right now, we're very excited about the Innovation Center. We're going to move into the Innovation Center. We're really excited to get our kids on campus and in that building as soon as possible. We're just going to have to find some way of doing it in a safe way. So Ms. Lindberg and I are probably going to be spending Saturdays there and try to bring them in some Saturdays. So, because we want to see if we can get our EDL kids also to have an opportunity to come to campus in a safe way and use our building.
Great, thank you so much. So we can find that information on the MSA webpage if they want to refer folks to it. Great.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same program that we've had always, except it's just virtual. And we have some of the parents, you know, from the board coming, but we also have 2 students. But I'm going to do the same PowerPoint, and we'll still have and then we'll have our students talk, and then our parents talk, and then we'll open for questions. It's the same basic thing we always do. It starts at 7, should be over by 8. Everyone's welcome to come. All of that stuff is on the website though. I mean, I hope that people are going to our website. I just worry about that.
Good, that's perfect. Thank you so much. And if there's any questions about that or you're not sure where to refer a friend, you can email any of the board members. We're happy to supply that information for you as well.
It's on Facebook too. Sorry, Kristen.
And Facebook. Thanks, Shonda. Perfect. Yeah, I forget about our Facebook social media page. That's great. I think next on the agenda, thanks, Mr. Brandt, for that awesome update. Next on the agenda is Melanie, who's going to provide just an update on our upcoming social event. So Melanie, take it away.
Okay, great. And I just wanted to say about tomorrow night's event, like to text your friends, because that's what I did with the Facebook page, and people didn't know about Saguaro's Math and Science Academy that I've known for 5+ years, and I know their kids would be great. So they're really excited. So I hope about, you know, just sharing. So sometimes people just don't know. I found out through a friend too as well. But I want to tell you that the social events are going really well. It's the only really thing we have as a group to do. So we're excited for October 28th. We're having a fundraiser event, drive-through event at Portillo's on Shea and the 101 from 5 to 8. So if you mention Saguaro MSA or you have the flyer in your email, we can send that out again. But it's at Portillo's. And they have, you know, healthy options or also unhealthy options if you'd like to splurge there too as well. So please come drive through and show your support, and hope to see you there.
Thank you so much. And for all of us Midwest Chicago transplants, you know, we love Portillo. So there you go. Healthy or unhealthy. So thank you so much. Katie, I think Katie joined us. Are you able to give us an update from the treasurer?
Yeah, sorry, I've been here. I just didn't have my video on. I'll keep it really quick. We've done, you know, great with donations since we began. We're currently sitting at about 30,000 in total. That's for VEX, FRC, our general fund, as well as Sisters in STEM. Let's see, since I last balanced everything though, because I balance them like when I get my statement at the end of the month, we've had about another $800 in expenses. We're starting to purchase things like robot parts. We're starting to pay competition fees. We've also purchased some air purifiers for some of the teachers. I think we are possibly going to be working, Lisa, you might know, with PTO to purchase some more.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll speak to that in a minute for you, Katie, the whole thing.
And, you know, just in general, our typical expenses, paid our insurance. I have our annual corporation commission renewal, our annual renewal for Booster Club membership is coming up and all of that. So we do need to continue to fundraise. We do finally have PayPal. PayPal's been a little hanky. They haven't replied to any of my emails, so I'm not sure why. I've only had success finding us with our email address. So if you look for saguaromsa@gmail.com, you can pull us up if there's if, you know, if somebody's still looking to make a donation and prefers that to sending a check. Zelle has been really popular. Lots of people have used that. So thank you to everybody who's donated. There's, you know, we are always grateful for more support. I think we're going to be doing a teacher luncheon, and we always have lots of great things in the works that we are trying to support as best as we can. So thank you. I think that's really about it, unless anybody has questions about any of either the fundraising or our expenses.
Great, thank you, Katie. Any questions or comments on that?
Kristen, it's probably a good moment for me to talk about the air cleaners. You want me to do
Yeah,
that?
I was just going to say that's next up. So as a board and the group, we've been talking a lot about all the work that our teachers are doing for all of our students and us. And so we wanted to think of a very functional way to support them. So Lisa's going to talk a little bit about what she's been up to and what we're talking about with the parent organization board as well. Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, so one of the things that we all have been trying very hard to do, I mean, one of the main functions, let's face it, for this program, for the Booster Club, is to support the Math Science Academy in any way that we can. And as we've all been living through this situation with the pandemic, one of the things that we've not been able to do as much as we used to is to do things like breakfasts and lunches and small gifts for the teachers. And yet, of all the times that our teachers need us, they need us now. So one of the things that we've been talking about for the last month or so within the board on the Booster Club is what we could do to help the teachers know that we so appreciate everything that they're doing and that we recognize that this is probably one of the toughest things they've ever done as a group, as teachers. And in talking with several of the teachers, a number of us, one of the things that we find is, you know, they're kind of nervous. Let's face it, this is not easy for them either to be coming back into the classrooms and even masked up and so on to be interfacing with a lot of people during this time. So we asked some of the teachers if they might be interested in having us purchase air cleaners, individual air cleaning units for their rooms, because one of the things the CDC has said over and over is cycling air in a closed room is probably one of the best defenses you can have beyond a mask, is to increase the throughput of clean air in your rooms. So while the schools all have new venting, which is very good, they've got very good HEPA filters within the venting systems in the air conditioning, that doesn't necessarily cycle the air in the room as effectively as you'd really like to see it happen. So we started to find that there was an interest in this. We've now, because air cleaners are becoming increasingly difficult to find, we made a fast purchase of 10 of the things through actually my husband's company, through Battelle Engineering. and have put a letter out to the teachers saying we have 10 units, we're interested in purchasing more if there's an interest. We've had 16 teachers already indicate an interest in getting these air cleaners in their rooms right now. So one of the things that I would like to suggest to all of you or ask if people can consider is donating money specifically for these air cleaners. It's a need that is very high right now. It is a way to help alleviate some of the stress that our teachers are under, and it's cheap. We can get them through our corporate account for about $150 a unit, and that improves the cycling of the air in the rooms by a good 2-3 times an hour if they're used properly. So beyond the money that the MSA has already put in, and the matching program that Battelle Engineering is going to do, our company, my family's company, is going to match up to 10 of the units. I'd like to ask everyone to consider throwing in what they can for this specific item now, if at all possible, both because it's a good idea for the teachers and the students, and I think it's incredibly important right now to send a message to the teachers that we know what they're going through and that we care and that we're here to support them. So if anyone can do that, I'm not suggesting you tell us right now, please get in touch with us and let us know if you can help out. We've thought about maybe doing an adopt a room type of thing. I'm sure that Ann and the others would support that. We could put a thank you up if people want to dedicate an air cleaner to a specific room. Or if you just want to throw some money in for it so that we can buy some more, that would be beyond wonderful. We're also going to look at, I think we found a source for true N95 masks. Not quite sure how this company is doing this. They provide to medical companies. It's not like they're taking away apparently from their medical vendors or supply purchasers rather. But we might be able to purchase N95 masks if the teachers are interested in that as well. Beyond that, we're going to look for anything else that we can do for the teachers, anything that shows them that we're all there behind them, that we want to help. One other element on that, just so people are if it wasn't already reinforced enough, it is becoming clear, as we all see, that people socializing out, kids socializing outside of school and doing this unmasked does have consequences. I mean, Chaparral's been a pretty good example of what can go wrong with that. I would like to ask everyone to consider very strongly before you have your students do such a thing, in the sense that it affects not just them. As soon as one of our kids is identified, it's a 6-foot radius in every single classroom they've been in of kids that will be quarantined. So as a community here, knowing that we're doing everything we can to keep these classrooms open, I would ask all of you to consider your students' actions and also to dialogue with your friends. If you know of people that are considering these things, you know, it's probably the time to ask them if it's really the right moment. So, but at any rate, we're going to do what we can with the air cleaners, and I think it's going to be a very good thing. The teachers are very excited about it and very, very appreciative. So any help we can get on that, we'd really, really appreciate it.
How do
Thanks,
we gift
Lisa.
that?
It's basically all you need to do is send an email over to Katie, and she can set you up with, is it Zello? I never can remember, Katie.
Oh, Zelle?
It's Zelle, yes.
Zelle. Yeah, I
Yes,
use
it's
that.
Zelle.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And it just gets deposited directly into our bank account. You can look, the easiest way for Zelle also is to search by the email, sawaromsa@gmail.com. And there's a note section in Zelle. I know from other donations that have been given, people will put in the note like their child's name. So in this case, if you would like it specifically for the air purifiers, please put that in the note section so we know that that's what it's designated for.
You said it was sawaromsa@gmail.com?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yep, that's great. I was just going to say, Katie, how do we give? That's perfect. That's great. And if you, I mean, if any other parents have ideas about other ways that we can support the teachers, let us know. We've also talked about still bringing in lunches and goodies, you know, and those are important things too. I firmly believe in food feeds the soul more than the belly. So, but also, you know, bringing real tangible things that will be long lasting is, you know, obviously where we're trying to hit here. So with the air cleaners. So thank you so much for supporting that as best as you can.
And as I'd mentioned earlier, in addition to Zelle, we do now have PayPal. Shanda, I believe, had trouble finding us under our name, but found us under Saguaro MSA at gmail.com. So if PayPal is easier for you, that is also available.
Great, thank you, Katie. And thank you, Lisa, and your husband's firm too for helping with that. That's excellent.
This is something that's very, well, you know, Steve's background, he's in the space sciences. That's what he does. He builds, one of the things he does is to build clean rooms for NASA. And so in the work that he does with the National Academy and so on, it's very clear from a science perspective that getting that air cleaned is probably one of the most important things you can do. So he knows, I think that's why he, you know, it wasn't my suggestion, it was his alone. He's like, we got to get air cleaners in the rooms. So I'll send on your thanks to him. It's important to him.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are right on schedule here for the last agenda item, which is really just any additional updates and then Q&A. So I'd like to open it up to the floor here. I actually have one question myself, but I'm going to reserve that and see what else is happening here. So please, if you want to ask a question, you can put it in the chat or unmute yourself and ask, please. I'm going to look in the chat here to see what we've got. I don't see any questions. Okay. Can I ask my question? Because it might be something that other people are asking. And it wasn't actually for me, it was actually a parent who's part of MSA, but they're also student athletes. The concern of being possibly quarantined, you know, sitting next to someone and they're looking forward to participating in state, which is, you know, 2-3 weeks away. The parent asked about how do they move from being on campus into the EDL and how is that done logistically? And I said, I don't know, but I'll bring that up for discussion at our booster meeting tonight, because it's probably, some of us are probably thinking about that too. And maybe not just from a sport related purpose. It might just be because plans have changed or your outlook has changed or things are different. So how is that done, and what is the protocol for if we want to move students from in-person learning to EDL and so forth?
Well, first of all, I would contact Dan Milligan. We had one go today that did that exact same thing. We don't want that to be a wholesale thing, but certainly understand, you know, why a student would do that. So I would contact Dan Milligan and say, what's the procedure? I really feel like I want to move my student, and they're going to work with you. It's not ideal, and nothing is these days, but I'm sure that they will accommodate whatever needs our students have.
Great.
I have one other thing also. Go ahead,
I was
Ray.
just going to say really quickly, because I had 2 move to EDL today, and I had a few come back earlier in the week. And since the teachers are teaching both the in-person and the EDL, they don't have a schedule change. It's just a matter of when they're showing up. So I've had students go back and forth, and they stop coming in the morning and they start showing up in my afternoon sessions.
Ray, does that cause you any, I mean, real complexity at all, or is that working okay? Is there anything about that would help to make that, you know, as a teacher, anything that we can all do to, you know, make that transition okay?
So far it's working okay. My afternoon classes, I record and then post, not usually in time, so they're a day behind. But I don't know of anything that would help with that. It's working out fairly well. So.
Okay. Thank you. That helps.
Okay.
I see a question. Yes, Swati?
Yeah, hi. I don't have a question, but this kind of a suggestion. We were talking about this. We received a couple of Halloween party invitations. We have declined those, but since it's very popular and people would like to go around for those Halloween parties, we were expecting that or hoping that we throw a word of caution that uh, they should be careful about whom they mix around with, or if for 2 days after the Halloween we have online something, or just in case people can feel for themselves they're feeling good, then don't get on campus. If you are feeling fine, healthy, okay, so can we have some mails floating around that if you're not good after the party, just don't. You can take a day or two to come back and decide if you're good and healthy enough to be on campus and not risk everybody else to get infected.
Swati, I could not agree with you more. And Chris, I know logistically it's complicated for people to be swapping back and forth, but just based on what's happened with SHAP, if those families that felt their children were potentially ill had done that one thing and said, okay, I'm going to pause it and let my kids stay off campus for a few days until we sort this out. Just think how many people might not be, in a situation where they have to be quarantined. I think personally, I think anything we can do to try and this is a dance, this is just a back and forth dance we've got to do. And the point of that dance is to keep people away from people during that contagious moment. And I think Swati is really onto something. If people, for their own choices, mix it up with other people, that might be a moment for them to say, okay, I did that, my choice, but to try and help the collective here, I'm going to stay away for a few days. I'm going to have my child stay away for a few days while we make sure that they're not, that they haven't picked up COVID. I don't know. I think it's a very viable way to avoid a much bigger problem.
Yeah, I would just caution everyone that it's important to contact the school. If you're keeping your kid home and they're going to do the EDL, they're switching modes, and you really should go through Dan if they're switching modes for any extended amount of time. You can call them an absent, just like you can call them an absence from school. And they can go to EDL, but the teachers are being told that if they're supposed to be in person and they're not there, to mark them absent. And then, I don't know if they can go back and change it. You'd have to ask Ray. I don't think they want, I think they'd want you to contact the school. Don't just say, okay, I'm keeping my kid home for 2 days. They're going on EDL. Okay, they're fine. I'm going to send them back. I don't think they want back and forth, but they also say, if your kid's sick, they need to stay home.
Right.
Actually, I had an experience with this, unfortunately, on yesterday. There was my daughter Emerson, who's not an MSA, but she's Race's little sister, sat next to somebody who tested positive. And we got a call. We got several letters by email, and then we got a call from the nurse. And she actually said that Ella was not able to go on campus until October 31st, which is a Saturday. So it's a 14-day quarantine if you're in contact sitting within 3 feet of another student. And that's by Maricopa County recommendations, which Scottsdale Unified is following to the letter. So I don't think there's going to be any 2 days and back. If the kid is out, according to their list, then the kid cannot come back on campus. And they should be following that very, very strictly.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. If they're identified as having been one of those exposed kids, they have to stay out for the 14 days. And that's exactly why I think we've got to be, it's so fast. I mean, think about a 6-foot radius around a kid going to 3 classes a day, 2 different sets of classes. That's a lot of kids they're in touch with. So as soon as one is identified as having COVID, that takes out, 15, 20 kids. Absolutely.
Right. And in Ella's case, she has already had COVID. I had to prove that it was within 3 months so that she could return to campus. So I had to provide them with her last positive COVID test from Honor Health. But then she's allowed to return because she is assumed to have a 3-month immunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is very, very real. They're very strict about it. The first things they notified the coaches, they notified whoever needed. I think they went to Maricopa County and spoke to them. I don't think parents will be able to send kids back early if they wanted to.
Well, that's if they're identified though with COVID. If they're just sick, they can come back. They're not out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think what Swati was trying to say was that if they're engaging in risky behavior, which risky in this situation is congregating with 5 of their friends. So I'm not talking about other risky behavior, but risky behavior in that light, that consider just keeping them back, knowing, okay, they wanted to go to hang out with their friends on Halloween, to be courteous and for the greater good, keep them home, away from the other kids, away from their, vulnerable family members, et cetera. So I think that was your point, Swati, and we appreciate that. There's a code of conduct, right, that our children and all of us are being asked to engage within, and it's something that I think we all have the responsibility to do. Shonda actually put in the chat, our teachers having conversations with the students about the importance of wearing masks and social distancing socially. And so I don't know, I'm assuming they're probably talking to them about that though. And I know we're at 7:00. So I would assume that our teachers are probably talking to them about that. And I know that's been the administration's standpoint.
Yeah, I think we are so much luckier than SHAP. I mean, we are a great community of families. We care a lot about what's going on with our school and our teachers. And this is, if we do this right, we'll be able to stay open, but we're going to have to do it very differently than say, SHAP's environment's just different. I don't think they have the same opportunity. I think we as a community can self-police. I think we can come up with sensible ways to manage this and keep ourselves going. We owe it to these teachers. My gosh, they're putting themselves on the front line. We owe it to them to do everything we can to keep this going as well as possible, I think, my opinion.
Agreed. So with that, it's 7:01. I'd like to give everyone back their evening. Please remember, if you feel moved to donate to the air filter cause, please, we'll take your donations. Please remember all the fun events coming up. There will be more too that we'll be planning. And thank you for keeping everyone safe, including your families. And we wish you a safe and good week.
Kristen, can I say one thing?
Please. Oh yeah, thank you.
There was a question in the chat about social events for freshmen. And the one thing I can just really stress, we had 2 events last week. We send out emails through the kids' Gmails, and I think I tagged parents too, so they can kind of remind their kids. We just had a general MSA meeting. We just played Kahoots and had some fun. Then we had a STEM club meeting right after school, 2:30 to 3:30, and we looked at fingerprints and made our fingerprints on paper and looked at them and talked about it. And so there are some things happening, but always check your Gmail accounts. And it's never, ever, ever too late to join anything. I know kids are very intimidated about, well, it's too late, or, oh, they're already a club and I didn't go. It's never like that. You can come, you can keep your camera off and participate at your whatever level you want.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. And I didn't catch that one. So thanks so much, Ms. Lindbergh, for catching that. Mr. Brandt, you were going to say something. I heard you.
I was just going to let you know, I don't know if anyone has any people at Padres. We're going to their high school night on Thursday, which is a virtual thing. from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And it's got Brophy and it's got Crest and it's got all of the possible high schools. And so the Math and Science Academy will be there virtually. And so if anyone knows of any, any students there, send them. We'll talk to them.
Great, thank you. Any last minute otherwise? Okay, well, thank you again. Have a safe and happy week. Take care.
Thank you.
Susan.
I'm in the Innovation Center, just hanging out. Yeah.
Is that really where you are? Are you there now?
No, she just put that picture on there.
Oh, I thought you really were.
No, she's not in the Innovation Center, but we're so excited about it. I can't stop talking about it.
I want to see it. I want to come see it.
Yeah.
I should have asked you while I was there, dropping the air cleaners off. Maybe next time.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
just let me know.
Yeah.
It's so exciting.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's wonderful. I'm so amazed and happy that it happened. You know. It's
Yep.
Really.
Yep. And so we forgot a trophy case. I can't believe that.
Ooh.
We forgot to put a trophy case in there, and those kids pointed that out today.
You know,
Where are we going to put our trophies? I said, well, we can hang our banners on the wall, but we're going to have to figure out a place for a trophy case.
we'll have to. Oh yeah, you got to have a big, huge trophy case with everything that's going on. I can't believe we forgot that. How did we do that?
I don't know.
Oh, well. All right. Well, guys, it's good to see you. This was good. I think that the chance to talk with the families is making a difference. So thanks for
Yeah.
making the. All right, guys, let you
We'll
go.
see you.
All right, take care. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.